Before we show the animation and the great graphics and the video, this tier is called Want to Touch the Hiney. I feel like we need to describe it before we look at the people. Yes.
We did. So I was joking around. Anybody ever seen Billy Madison, right? They're talking about Veronica Vaughn, the hot teacher, right? Yeah. And they talk about so hot, want to touch the hiney, right? And that's Chris Farley. So I was joking around, and we were trying to figure this out, and I was going, so close, want to touch the hiney. And what I mean by that is they're so close, like, to getting everything they want, right? They are really close, and that's the tier we're going to get into. Things of two guys here specifically that have a lot of talent, have game-changing abilities, right? But there's just a flaw or two that still needs to be fixed, or we just got to get a little bit better at, and then we might be touching the hiney and be in the top 10 or the top 8 or whatever here. But these are the type of guys here where there's still room for improvement. There's still potential. There's big-time aspects of their game, and they were two of the tougher evaluations, too, because there were some things that worked against them last year that didn't necessarily always help itself to great film. And I got to try to take that stuff into account as we move into the future here. But, yes, we are in the Kyler Murray, Jordan Love, want to touch the hiney part of the tier here.
So we'll get to Jordan Love, but let's start with Kyler Murray here. They were 8-9 last year, and a lot of respects, that was an overachievement from a team that we did not think was going to be in the playoff conversation, and they were quite late into the year. He was nearly 70% in his completion percentage, 230 yards a game. He was about here last year in the rankings.
Right.
Now, back in 2021,
I know.
he was number 7, so he was top 10. He has dropped out there, but you still see some potential room to still, I mean, this is not early for Kyler Murray anymore. We're not talking potential for him anymore.
Right.
But he's still one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the game.
Definitely is. One of the most dynamic, still one of the most physically gifted quarterbacks in the game, still one of the guys that you can watch a game on a given basis or any play and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe he just pulled that off or made that play or made that throw. And it's not just about running game either. It's about throwing the football too. So yeah, things are on the up. They are. And to your point too, right? Like, we're at a point of a career where you don't want to say, like, yeah, he's still growing or whatever and all of that, but there's still parts of his game he can get better at, and there's parts of his game that I saw him get better at. So that's the good thing there. Now, take into account, too, with Kyler Murray, not necessarily in love with that offense and what they do. You heard me say that before we started the show. It doesn't always just make it like, oh, wow, this is quarterback-friendly, people are open. It's not the most creative pass offense I've seen in football. On top of that, too, I would say, the talent around him is not wowing to where people are separating all over the field, okay? Marvin Harrison's very good, but we know separation was a part of the thing. The year was good last year, but maybe a hair underwhelming. Trey McBride is clearly his best target, his best guy, his best mismatch. But Murray can do it all. And Murray can play the position true to form in the pocket, make right reads. Oh, I'm getting pressure. I got to throw the ball early with anticipation and drop it in the bucket, do something like that. This is he can, of course, make highlight plays with his movement and his running. And I don't even think that is a total 100% coming off the injury, right? I think you'll see him get back to what he was before that ACL injury this year. I think you'll see him really regain that explosive ability. But here's like one area, if you want to talk about, well, I don't know, potential. Can he actually get better and do stuff like that? He has become a better decision maker. He has become better going through reads in the pocket. But the biggest thing there, and they kind of play into what I'm about to say, one of my issues with him was in the pocket play. Plays small, leaves the pocket too early, looks at the rush too quickly, and then tries to look downfield when things get a little hairy. When you go back watch Kyler Murray last year, you can tell there was a concerted effort to go, I'm going to hang in the pocket, right? Nobody's open at first, but I'm not just going to get out and run around and close myself off to the sideline and do anything. He really did a phenomenal job for especially a smaller guy who we know it's not easy to do that, of hanging in there, hopping in there. Like you could see in certain games he was like, I want to go. And it's like he heard his coach's voice in his head like, hey, hang in the pocket. This is where a lot of the big plays happen. And then he'd like regain himself and hop around. And you could tell he was looking downfield and not looking at the pass rush. I liked that aspect, and he needed to do that last year because a lot of times people weren't open on the original part of the play. So he had to wait and do something from there. within that, I also think, and maybe because of the knee, it forced him to be like that a little bit more. I think it made him play, like I said a second ago, the position a little more true to form of like, hey, I'm getting blitzed. I can't just always run away from it. I got to have an answer of where I'm going to throw it, where I'm going to fade and get rid of the ball, right? I saw things like that, and the arm talent's still phenomenal. It really is. His biggest thing, of course, is still size-related, and the fact that there's going to be some plays and some throws over the middle of the field that he just doesn't trust. He doesn't trust what he's seeing. He's not sure if he's seeing it right because he is smaller, and there's probably a guard and a big defensive tackle in his way. So you can watch every game and see 2 or 3 plays where you go, throw that to that guy over the middle. Yeah. But you can also go, well, he's 5'10". I don't know if he can really see it all the way, so he doesn't do it. That would be the biggest flaw in his game, but I still think there's room to grow. They certainly can help him out a little bit more with their offense and hopefully some more weapons here as we go forward. Yeah. But it's still, like you started off, he's still dangerous. He still has a wow ability. And I feel like he's getting better at playing the position more true to form, which could be scary for NFC West opponents.
Yeah, a few things. I mean, offense, they didn't add a whole lot on offense. So defense, I know. That could help them if they have a better defense, right? It puts less pressure on the offense. And Kyler here, what he said this offseason, quote, I don't want to get too scheme-based, but I do feel like I have to run more next year. So that's something that he wants to get back, maybe to over that.
Yeah, I think that's still the point there, too. And I think that's what made him hang in the pocket.
Yeah, injury and some of that last year, too. Right. Jonathan Gannon has been effusive in his praise of him this offseason. I think he said he has not missed a workout all offseason. And then 2 weeks ago at a charity softball game, he said, quote, I think he's going to blow it out of the water this year. I think he's going to have his best year that he's had as a pro. We have some of his OTA stuff. So it does. I mean, here's a guy who is still 27 years old. We're talking about Bo Nix, second year. He's, 25?
That's what we can't forget. That's why I'm saying, that's where it's weird when you were like, well, it's I don't know, his potential, blah, blah, blah. It seems like you can't say that. But it's like, no, he's kind of still young.
Yeah.
He really is. And, I think Jonathan Gannon's, saying the right things there. I think, Kyler Murray, for the first time in his life, probably the first time in his life, got to a point here the last 2 years. He's like, wait, I can't just go out there and make it happen whenever I want, right? I think anywhere he's ever been, whatever it was, baseball or football, he's just like, if I show up on the field, I'll make it happen. Don't worry. I can play Call of Duty and be fine and still go out there and tear everybody up on the defensive side of the ball, right? That became a thing. I think you're seeing a maturing of a quarterback who's realizing, okay, my athletic ability is special, but there's more to that in this league. Like look at Lamar Jackson. His athletic ability is special. He realized he needed to do some different things to go to the next level. Josh Allen, whoever, right? So you just can't get it done just thinking, I'm the man, I'll get it done. And I think that's what you're hearing from Jonathan Gannon. You're starting to see the gym rat. And I always know he loved the sport. I've always heard that. I know that. He loves ball. But it's just loving ball makes sometimes you have to do things you don't love. Well, it means I got to get there a little earlier and just grind a little bit more than I'd like to. Let me stay here a little later. Let me go out with these guys. Even though I'd like to go home and sit on the couch and I'm tired, let me go out with the offensive line and be one of the guys, right? I think those are the little things he's learning here. And I do think Arizona is going to take the next step. They exceeded expectations, like you said. They continue to make that team better. And I think they'll be a player in the NFC this year. I'm not going to predict playoffs, but I think they'll be right in that combo late in the year.
I mean, Kyler's such a fun player to watch and dynamic player, and I think at times early in his career, it's just like he's going to win not one MVP but multiple. At this point, though, when you look at him and where he's at, I mean, what % chance do you think he has at one point in his career to win an MVP or win a Super Bowl? That's obviously that one's team dependent, but those upper echelon of the quarterback, it seems like at times he has the talent to do that.
I still put him in the ability to get there one day. Yeah. I'm not giving up on that. Yeah. I'm not. I still like you said, if the right team is around him and the formula and all that, yes, he can put up eye-popping numbers and they can win games. He is that type of talent that would be MVP worthy of a guy. I do. I don't think it's not over yet here with this guy by any stretch of the imagination. Right, and of course the size and some of those things. Okay, it's their job to find plays and find ways and work with that, because there's other things he brings to the table that other guys can't do that he does do. So you can't just always go, well, he's small, he doesn't play in the pocket well, and do all of that too. Yeah, you say that, and then he makes a 360 turn and runs around the corner and makes some unbelievable throw, and you're like, oh, thank God he got out of the pocket and made a play with that crazy athletic ability there, right? So you can't have both all the time. I think he continues to go on an upward trend of where we saw last year along with the Arizona Cardinals.
It will be tough, though, to win an MVP, win a Super Bowl. But you know what? I do think he can win a gold medal in the Summer Olympics in L.A. playing flag. I don't know why I keep putting him out there.
Well,
I don't even know if he wants to do that.
He's made for that.
He's
right?
made for that.
Right.
I mean,
running around, slinging it, doing
that could be his legacy. It's like, yeah, he never won an MVP or Super Bowl. You know what? He won 2 gold medals in 2028 and 2032 or whatever.
I think what he would say to that is, "Shut up, Ahmed. I'm trying to win a Super Bowl."
Can we at least see if he would want to do that? I don't know. I don't even know.
No, I'm sure
he's
going to get that question here soon.
I would ask that. Yeah. Let's get him on here, and I want to ask him that question.
Yo, homies, what's up? Thanks for watching Chris Simms Unbuttoned. And just because the weather's warm, doesn't mean football ain't still on our brains right here.
We are still working, so smash that subscribe button. We got all the training camp news, preseason news, everything up until kickoff night.
Thanks for watching. And again, remember to hit that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.